Hello everybody, welcome to 54 Nights. Little something different this week. Thought we'd try just having a little conversation. I don't know what we call it. Coffee talk? No, we don't have coffee.
I don't
she
like
doesn't
coffee.
drink coffee. But the whole gist of this thing is just to have a conversation, whatever the topic is, and I've got a lot of topics to talk about. Won't get to today, but just kind of in an unedited format, so when she does something silly or dumb, it's going to show up in the video. So, because I'm not going to edit it. Ow. But I am going to kind of start a timer, so because we tend to ramble and I don't want to go over so long.
We don't ramble.
But today we're going to talk about the COVID effect. You heard me a couple of weeks ago. I actually kind of labeled it the COVID effect. It's a new thing. You'll see it all the news. Yeah, I mean you'll see it everywhere. Just
Chris said it.
Google the COVID effect. Talk about how that's impacted camping and the RV world overall. Kind of leaving
us.
Yeah. I'm kind of, some of the numbers I spew out, if I do, aren't really going to include tent campers. It's more in the RV side of camping. But I mean, you've heard us whine about it.
We don't whine.
Predictable. I knew she was going to say that. I could have put it in a script if I wrote a script for these things.
So
but,
you whine. Okay.
But campgrounds are crowded. State park campgrounds are crowded. I haven't really noticed it a whole lot with private parks, but just the on the state park side of it, you've got to be attentive. You've got to make reservations in the state of Oklahoma. And talking to one of our neighbors the other day, down in Texas, they've got the same issue. So I have to assume that all across the nation, getting in state parks is a lot less on a whim than it used to be. In years past, I could get home from work on a Friday afternoon and just, hey, let's go camping this weekend.
Part of that is they've started requiring reservations for our state parks.
Yeah, that's part of it, but I mean, even still...
Right, it's busy.
I mean, even when they did the reservation thing, we couldn't always get the site we wanted, but we could get a site. This year it's totally different. If Friday afternoon I decide we want to go camping, well, camping is going to be at a rest area.
In late November.
Yeah. So, KOA does an annual, or maybe twice a year, I don't know, but a camping report. North American camping report, and they actually did two this year, one in March, one in September, and they were they surveyed in the September report, they surveyed 3,500 people roughly, United States people, asked them a lot of questions, and the information that came out of that is really pretty interesting, because we've got a lot of new RVers, a lot of new campers this year. And RV sales projected to be like 424,000 this year. That's a huge number in the RV industry. Not quite, the 500,000 it was in 2017, but still, I think it caught them off guard when you look around at all the empty RV lots.
It's just like they caught them off guard when they made toilet paper in 2020 and they didn't make enough.
See, that stays in because it won't get cut.
You would normally cut my hilarious jokes. That wasn't even a joke. It was a comparison.
Not your hilarious
that
jokes.
That was a very intelligent comparison.
But yeah, I believe it totally caught them off guard, where they weren't prepared for the RV sales this year. And, a lot of them were to Gen Xers like ourselves, but even millennials are starting to catch the camping bug. And, I mean, either renting RVs or staying in cabins or buying RVs or even tent camping. you can see it. I mean, you can see it when you go to a state park. We're there in October, which in years past, October on through the rest of the year until, spring break, campgrounds are almost desolate. I mean, we have stayed in campgrounds in November where we were one of 2 people.
I have a memory on my Facebook from today, like 4 years ago, I think, that says how nice it is, how much we love camping this time of year, and that we can stand on the side of the banks of the lake and hear nothing but wildlife, and trees, the wind. That's not quite what it was this last
Good luck with that
time.
now. Now you're hearing screaming kids and slamming doors at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's another story.
So a lot of new campers filling up the campgrounds, and it's the people surveyed. It was for them, they considered it their safest option for travel. You have your own bathroom. In most cases, you have your own bathroom. You have your own bed. It's your own living space. You're not going to a hotel where you're wondering, did they give this room the deep clean?
Well, and it was out of necessity also because airlines stopped doing flights. There were no flights. Buses, I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm sure buses stopped. I mean, tour buses, and not tour as in going from state to state type tour buses.
So it was really unprecedented this year. I mean, where people made plans late last year. They're going to go to Hawaii or Cancun, or they're going to fly out to California or down to Florida.
Cruise.
Yeah, go on a cruise. And then all of a sudden, you can't do that. So what do we do? And camping. It's like the perfect social distancing activity, a way to get outside, a way to get away from the house, and not be concerned
safe
with crowds.
Mm-hmm.
So, you got all these new folks, and one of the questions that comes up is, what's it going to look like in 2021? I mean,
I have that question.
All these people buying these campers now. Traditionally, and we've broken all sorts of traditions in 2020. Traditionally, people buy campers, RVs, they buy boats, and then the wintertime hits and they're questioning why they're paying several $100s a month for something that's sitting in the driveway or in storage that they can't use.
Early spring, they sell it,
So, that's sometimes they hang on to them for a couple of years. Sometimes they don't even last a full year before they're like, this was ridiculous. But so you have to wonder, is that going to happen this? And I said no editing, and the battery dies on me, so I have to edit. So you're left with wondering, what's 2021 going to look like? What when you head out, for spring break, or during the summer you head out to the lake for a weekend, what is it going to look like? And according to the report from KOA, 19% of new RVers, not tent campers or cabiners or whatever, but new RVers, 19% of those who were asked about it said that they planned on keeping on.
They liked it.
They liked it. They discovered our secret, and they liked it.
I don't know which of you let out the secret, but
it's disappointing that you guys are telling other people about this. But so we might see it clear out a little bit, maybe, but still, I mean, as it was before 2020, there weren't enough campgrounds.
Yeah.
And so I think it's still going to be, personally, and just me thinking out loud, I think it's going to be much of the same next summer. Now, that's kind of the rough part of all of this is the crowds and everything, but there is, I think, a little silver lining to all this. You know, I mentioned that it's the Gen Xers and the millennials that are really stacking up with the RVs. The folks in our generation, when we get away, we find it difficult to really get away. So we still want our access to the interwebs. You know, we still want to be able to get on our phone and, you know, look things up on Google or watch YouTube videos, watch my YouTube videos, our YouTube videos.
So you think they're going to accommodate this?
There's going to be more of a demand for...
That's an interesting thought.
For internet access. And I think that demand is going to maybe... It could improve our dismal, abysmal, horrid, just scary campground Wi-Fi. You know, everybody knows that campground Wi-Fi is just like, why do you even bother? Mm-hmm. But we have been to places, Ruby's at Bryce Canyon, where the Wi-Fi was... The campground Wi-Fi was just phenomenal. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was excellent. And we have been to these places. And if you've never been to Bryce Canyon is like the definition of middle of nowhere.
Yes, it is.
and this Ruby's Inn, I think, campground, the Wi-Fi was just off the charts.
And there were
excellent.
It was a big campground with a lot of people there too.
So when you go to stay in Shreveport, Louisiana at a campground there and you get the typical worthless Wi-Fi, you have to wonder why. I mean, you know, you hear people give excuses as to, well, you know, you got this and you got that. No, I'm sorry. If somebody in the middle of nowhere, Utah can get Wi-Fi that you can stream movies on, there's no excuse. The bottom line is you're just not willing to spend the money for the Wi-Fi backbone. And I tend to think with millennials and Gen Xers
demanding
camping more, and there's more of a demand for quality internet access.
Maybe it'll happen.
We might start to see more campground owners paying a little bit more attention, because it already is to some degree, but it will become more so of a requirement for people traveling.
You mentioned streaming. That didn't used to be a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's right there. It gives, people that want to, that are holed up in their camper, that want to watch movies or watch their next episode of their series that they've been watching or something while they're on vacation.
And even working from home has become more of a reality for a lot of folks.
Oh, yeah.
I got to work from home for a few weeks this year, and
I scared him off.
Yeah, it was a little scary. But, I mean, there's a lot I can do from the house. I can't do my entire job from the house. I mean, it's just not, my job, I can't do that. But there's a lot of people out there that can, and they did. And companies are realizing that you can work from the house.
So you can work from the house, you can work from your camper.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you can go spend a week at the lake or in some other city in some other state and then enjoy the weekend at this remote location and still get your work done. And so...
Well, I wish we could do that.
It would be fun. Unfortunately, I can't do that. But so, that's I really think that's one of the positive things that could come out of this whole COVID effect. Of course, and then there, you do have negatives. New campers bring bad habits that, we badmouth these people for doing certain things, walking across your campsite. These folks have never been camping in their whole lives.
They don't know
They
the
don't
unwritten rules.
understand that we have boundaries.
Get off my lawn! There's also a financial aspect of all of this as far as buying a new camper or trading in your old. Is your old camper going to be worth anything when everybody's trading in their old camper?
It'll be interesting to see how all of that shakes out. If 18% of or 19% of new RVers plan on sticking with it, the inverse of that is 81% of them don't. So that we are going to have a lot of used campers, I think, in the not necessarily next spring, but maybe in the next couple of years, you're going to start seeing an overstock of used campers. Which
you go to trade yours in, yours may not be worth very much.
Yeah, it could make it difficult to trade it in. Could make it difficult to sell. I mean,
we're thinking about buying, so we're kind of trying to determine what's going to happen there.
Kind of weighing different options there, but the COVID effect for us personally, the grand scale was the RV industry and all that, but personally for us, we did have plans for 2020. We were going to Capitol Reef and we were going to Glacier National Park, two places we had never been to. We opted not to do that because we'd never been there and we didn't want to go to a scaled down version, where visitor centers aren't open or there aren't that many ranger talks or activities because of COVID. So we opted to go to the familiar, which is Rocky Mountain National Park, and a road trip out to Arkansas with the motorcycle, which was awesome. I mean, we still had a great time, but those two things we just delayed them for a year. And the good thing with Capitol Reef was I found out a few things this week about Capitol Reef that I didn't know a year ago that we would have totally missed if we had gone in May. And now we're not going to miss them because I know about them. I guess that's about it for the COVID effect. I mean, just anything else? What happened with you guys? I mean, how did it impact your traveling this year? I'm really curious how, comments down below. How did it impact you? Did you have to start making reservations where you didn't make reservations in the past, or did you just not go?
Did you try to buy a camper and the lots were empty?
Yeah. Like I said at the beginning, this is kind of a new thing for us. There's a lot of topics up here in my skull.
That's why every time more he thinks, it burns the top of his head and the hair follicles die.
That I might edit out. But, what'd you think about this little format? This little just a conversation. If you enjoyed it, maybe we'll do some more of it down the road. If you didn't enjoy it, then we'll stop. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry. I might stop, but I'm not sorry.
She never is. But I guess that's about it, folks. So we'll catch y'all down the trail.
See you later.